everybody. It's Winter with the Shift Spotlight podcast. And today we're here with Victoria Kennedy, and she can be found at victoriouspr.com. So I love your website name and how you kind of tied it into your name. Sometimes, people try to do that. It doesn't work. But Victorious is definitely how you have shown up in the world. So before we get into you and what you do, tell us a fun fact about yourself that people may not know.
Yes. Well, something fun about me is that I actually entered the convent when I was 16 years old. If you can believe that. I know.
Cool. So give us a little bit of context. You got to give a little bit more than that.
Well, I just always loved God, still do. Always really religious, and just thought, I want to dedicate my whole life to God. And so I went in, and that's the thing about me, but I think about a lot of entrepreneurs. When we decide we want to do something, it's not enough just to do it. We want to be the best of the best. And so for me, it's like, I don't want to just go to heaven. I want to go straight to heaven. What's the quickest way? All right. Nuns are the holiest. That's me, 100%. And that's how I've been my whole life. Obviously convent didn't work out. I'm happily married now. So that didn't work out. But, I've always been like one to reinvent myself. I did pageants. I was an opera singer. I played Christine in Phantom of the Opera. I had a #1 hit single on the classical charts in Europe. I just love reinventing myself. I love doing different things and being the best of the best as I possibly can in whatever field that I'm doing.
That's awesome. That is very interesting. One of the most funnest facts I've ever heard. So, all right. So at a high level, tell us what you do, and can you share with us what your annual revenue is?
Yes. So I am the CEO of Victorious PR, and we help entrepreneurs become the #1 authority in their niche by getting them featured in top publications and podcasts. Our revenue is 2.3 million per year. And we are on track to come out with a brand new offer, which I will be talking about later on in this podcast, to share with people how we were able to grow our business. We did $1 million our first year in business without a single paid ad. And that's all from the power of personal branding and PR. And now I'm sharing that with others so that they can make millions too.
That is awesome. And yeah, stay tuned to hear what that offer is going to be, because we talked about it. It's pretty amazing. A fun fact that people may not know about me: I actually studied marketing and public relations at Florida State way back in the day. And they were so strict about who they took into this program that they had a 13-point rule that if you were on television in any way, shape, or form, you had 13 points. So 1, 2, 3, each button, 4, 5, 6, 7. And like your hair had to be a certain length, right? Like they were adamant about like teaching these things. And you probably used, or maybe you didn't, but did you ever use the AP Style Guide?
Yes.
Okay. So that's like two things that drive me crazy that I learned in the AP Style Guide, but it was, there's no such word as towards. People say, I'm moving towards this goal, but it's toward. There's like literally no S on towards. What is the other one that drives me crazy? People always do this. They're like, I'm writing a book entitled. Nope. You're entitled to go to college if that's what you want to do, but you're writing a book titled. So anyways, I learned some tips with the PR world back in the day, but let's talk about your vision and your goals. You're obviously very successful. But what do you have in place, or what keeps you and your team accountable for driving that kind of success? Because you've got to be a real go-getter to want to keep getting up every day and not only maintaining what you have, but creating even more and bigger.
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's what you said. It's consistency. It's having your goal in mind and always working towards it. So what we do internally in my company is in our team Slack, we have our core values and mission Slacked every single day in the team Slack channel. And we put, what is your word of the day? So this way, every single person on the team is reminded, this is what we're working towards. This is what our core value is. This is who we are as a company. And everybody comments on it, what their word of the day is, and it's kind of like a fun, happy chatter in there, because I just want to let my whole team know this is the direction and this is who we are. No matter how big we get, no matter what happens in our business, this is the core of who we are. Right. And I love that as well. We also have end of month reviews, where we're talking about what our goals are. Did we hit them? What are we working towards for the new year? And of course, we have quarterly goals with just like the leadership team, but the end of month calls are the whole team, because I want everyone on the team to know where we're headed, what new directions that we're doing, and let them know that I see and I value all of them. all of their input. I don't care if they're a lowly VA all the way up to a leader in the company. I want
Yeah.
to hear from everyone, and I want them to feel like they're important, because I wouldn't be anywhere without my team.
I
So
love that. How many employees do you have working for you full time?
15.
15. Okay. So then as you scaled your business, what has been kind of the most unexpected challenge that you've had along that way? Because, managing one or two people, or you and your husband, or you and your, admin, that's all great and dandy. But as you've grown to 15, there's been some unexpected challenges. Let's talk about those.
Oh my gosh, in terms of team or in terms of as a CEO?
Well, let's talk team first, then we'll talk CEO.
Yeah. So with team, when you grow so quickly, which we did, right? So our first year, we did $1 million,
Yeah.
which is like, extreme growth, right? And
Right.
so we had to hire very quickly, because the thing about my company is, again, our core value is excellence, excellence. And I always say excellence first with ourselves, then with each other, then with our client. But what that means is that when people are paying me high ticket, they expect the best of the best. So I can't just hire people who are not the best of the best.
Right.
So when we first scaled so quickly, there was a lot of turnover, because if
Yes.
I saw someone immediately, maybe they were so great on the interview, but then as soon as they got in, their colors changed, they were gone. I was
Right.
not having it. I have a very high standard for my team, because my clients expect a lot of me, and they know
Right.
that they're the best. And so I had to have that. So when you scale that quickly, realize that you're going to have a lot of turnover. And that was one of my big challenges, is like letting people go, which of course affects morale as well, right? When you
Yep.
put them in and then let them go.
Yep.
But if the core team realizes that you're doing it to make sure that you guys are operating at the highest level and you're only having A players, they will understand and will be on board.
Right. Right. That's awesome. So then, can you tell us about a specific situation that you handled with a team? Because you know what you said is not what I typically hear from a CEO. What I hear from a CEO is, I tried way too long with them. I kept them on longer than they needed to be. They were my buddy, friend, cousin, baby mama, and I wanted to help them. And I don't typically hear if they didn't fit, they were cut, but that is the mindset that you have to have as a CEO. So what drove that? Because that is not standard.
Yes. Well, I think that I was like your other CEOs, and I learned the hard way, where I kept people way longer than they should. And they ended up destroying the company culture or the team because of whatever reason. And I had
we call them cancerous employees. Like they just start to spread.
They do. And I realized that's not going to happen under my watch. I'm not going to come to work and be unhappy. This is my business, and I want to be happy when I come to work. And I want all of my employees who are loyal to me to be happy as well.
Right.
So what we started doing was implementing this thing where the first 2 weeks is training. And when I hire someone, I tell them, you're not hired as a W-2 right away. You're going to earn. So first of all, it's 2 weeks of training. And after those 2 weeks of training, it is 90 days trial probationary. And I can fire you at any given time. And at those 90 days, we're going to have an employee evaluation. And I'm going to see whether or not I'm going to offer you employment at my company or not. And a lot of people do not make it, even though we have very strenuous processes to even be hired. After that, it's like, I want to make sure people who are on board and want to succeed with this company. So, I mean, that's what I've learned, is let people go very quickly if they're not showcasing that they're excellent or want to be team players right away.
I agree. And so as you've grown, have you ever felt like you've been growing too quickly, or you grew too fast? And what were the challenges behind that?
Absolutely. I think our first year, I wasn't expecting to make $1 million my first year, but it was so successful. And so it was, okay, how do we sustain this? What is working to keep on doing it? And it was a lot of, when you first start out, me wearing all the hats. And then trying to find people who are better than me at each certain role, but then realizing they're not better than me. I need another person in that role who is better than me. And so as you grow, you need people who are better as well. And that's hard too, to let people go and realize when you need to let things go so that you can keep growing and getting better and better and better.
Right, right. So what's been the most difficult part of your CEO journey? So we talked about the teams, we talked about elevating them, but then for you specifically.
So for me, I'm a creative. As I mentioned before, I'm an opera singer. I still sing opera. I just sang at the Vatican this summer.
Oh my
which
gosh, that's awesome.
incredible, and I just got invited to sing at this Christmas thing next month, and I sang at the House of Commons this summer. So I still have an active singing career. I'm a creative. That's why I love PR. That's why I love helping people. So anything in business that comes with finances, payroll, a nightmare for me. Bookkeeping, a nightmare for me, right? I don't like the finances. I just want to have fun and be creative and think of creative campaigns. So definitely the finances has been like my Achilles heel in my
Right.
business.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny. So you've got somebody, I'm sure, that handles that side of it for you.
Yes.
So, as you've grown, have you felt like you needed support in areas? And what areas are those aside from finance?
Absolutely. So when I first started my business, I mean, literally I started with a mentor, and I have been getting mentors ever since then, always constantly being mentored, because I believe that that has been my reason why I've grown so quickly in my businesses. I've
Mm-hmm.
probably spent more than $250,000 on mentorship throughout my
Yeah.
3 years of being in business, because
Yeah.
I understand how important it is. I'm learning from their mistakes so that I can quickly rise without having to experience them myself. What I'm
Right.
paying for is a speed ticket to success. And
Right.
honestly, that's why I started this coaching program, this authority creator, where I can help people, because I realized the only reason I'm sitting here talking to you today with these awards on my wall is because I paid mentors who knew more than me, who were ahead of me, to help me get to where they are, that where I wanted to be. And so
Right.
now I feel like I'm in a good position. My business runs without me, and I want to be able to give back and help people as well. Of, hey, look, this is how I did it. This is the mistakes I made so that you don't have to make them. And here's the quick way to get to where you want to be.
Yeah. So let's take a little detour here. Let's talk about Krista Mashore. So you did some work for her, right? And
Yes.
so what exactly was your role in what you did with her? Because, she started on the scene and it was like a trickle. And then all of a sudden it was like, and it was like, there was nowhere that I couldn't go and see one of her, things. And then even now I've noticed that she shifted from the real estate world into now just coaches in general. Like, hey, coaches, so it's like, she knows nothing about coaches, but she's been set up as an authority on how to get high ticket closings. And that's all that you need to do it. So like, what was your role with all of that?
Yeah, Krista's awesome. And she came to us with already high level success, which was
Yeah.
really a lot easier. She just needed to be introduced to the right editors at the right publications. And so that's what we really did for her. Is she had the money already. She was already doing well in her business. What we did is we took her story, we crafted a brand around that, and then we presented that. And we were able to get her in places like Forbes and Entrepreneur. We got her in Inman, which is the #1 real estate publication in the world, which was awesome for her credibility in that particular space. And to this day, she still runs ads with the stuff that we got her in Forbes and Inman and real estate publications as well. And it just goes to show, it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you're still not taken seriously by the industry leaders in your niche, you're not going to break through. And so that's what really helped her do, was seen as an industry leader in real estate specifically for her. And that, I think, really, like you said, catapulted her to a new level of success.
And the interesting thing is after that, I knew that she worked with Russell Brunson. Yeah, she worked with Russell Brunson, and she started working with a couple others. So back to your point about mentorship, she did not play. I mean, she probably dropped $250,000 and on some of these high ticket top dog marketers. So you take the PR, you couple it with the marketing, you get the right mentor, and you do catapult to that success a lot faster than you would if you're trying to like muddle yourself along the way. For those that don't like exactly know what PR is, like what exactly do you do for your clients?
I make them the #1 industry leader in their industries. So for example, Krista Mashore, she's great. She makes a lot of money, but who in the real estate industry takes her seriously? Has she been on top real estate publications? Has she been in the top dogs? That's where you're seen as the industry leader. If I Google real estate coaches, she's not going to pop up, but she was afterwards, because we use those keywords to get her on top ranking publications so that Google recognized her and pushed her to the top. Because in this day and age, everybody is Googling. I don't care if they live in Sri Lanka or America or in Canada, they're Googling. And if
Right.
your program is over $1,000, you better believe people's doing their due diligence and researching you. And I'm going to ask you, do you pop up or does your competitor pop up? Because there can only be one number one in any industry. And that's what we do, is we make sure that you dominate, so that you're not tired, you're not playing small, you're being number one, seen as the number one category king of your industry.
So speaking along that, you and I talked offline about, you've got this amazing offer that helps people kind of learn what you do, right? So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So what I've seen in the industry, there's a lot of coaches. I mean, you can just like what did they say? Throw a stone and hit a coach these days.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like cookie cutter programs out there of like, hey, just do this thing, buy this course, and then we're done with you.
Yeah.
But I build my business off of me, my story, my personal branding. You know, people know I'm an opera singer. People know like my background, and that's why they're attracted to work with me. And I realized that's been my ticket to success, is really leaning in on my personal brand. And so what I'm teaching people now is not some sort of cookie cutter thing. Now, of course, there's techniques that work, but it's about leveraging your personal story. Because at the end of the day, I attract very different clients than other people who do PR in the industry. You know, people know Victoria's the best. She's expensive, but she's the best of the best. And that's the kind of people that I attract who do service in business with me. Now, I teach people like, whoever you are, lean into that, because that's how you're going to attract your dream clients. I see so many people casting a wide net saying, oh, I want to work with everyone. If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. It's about becoming who you are and being, this is who I am unashamedly, and I want to attract those people. Dan Henry is another one of our clients. He's very controversial, but those people love who he is. They love controversy and they want to work with Dan. And that's what we do. We leverage that, who he was. And so that's what I'm teaching, is be yourself, leverage your personal brand, attract your dream clients, and you'll find people who have no problem paying you high ticket for your services.
Yeah, that's very Seth Godin, your vibe attracts your tribe kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what challenges do you see in your industry, especially like in the upcoming year? It's an election year, weird years. Like, what are some of your unique industry challenges?
Well, honestly, it's exciting. I mean, I know it's terrible because there's so many news that you don't want to hear right now in the news. But as a publicist, I am like, this is my field day. I love this because there's so much out there that my clients can comment on. You know, if you see something like the recession and you're in real estate, contact a journalist. You are an expert that they want to hear from. You know, if you're a small business owner, inflation is through the roof. Let's hear what you have to say. This is the easiest time right now to get featured in these huge publications because there's so much fear and uncertainty in the market. They want to hear from experts and they want to interview experts on their take on what's going on.
Right. You got to pitch them, right? So, all right. So what are the top 3 things that you are planning for, either, shifts that you're making, but in the next year?
Absolutely. So in this next year, it's 2024, guys. I'm a crypto journalist myself. I love the crypto industry. It's going to be a huge bull run in 2024. So if you don't know anything about crypto, you still have plenty of time, but the bull run is coming in 2024. Even though you see all this doom and gloom in the stock market, just know that Bitcoin is going to halve in the spring of 2024, and it's going to be a huge bull run. So this is not financial advice, but it's going to be really, really, really fun to see that happen. And so in terms of crypto projects that I can help to do PR for, I'm excited about that. I'm also excited to help people in 2024 build their dream business by being authentically themselves. So I mentioned this new program, Authority Creator. I want to reveal the secrets of how I made $5 million, over $5 million in 3 years. And I want to share that for the first time ever with people. And it's not some cookie cutter thing. It's about being authentically yourself and attracting those dream clients.
And so if people wanted to get a hold of you, wanted to take you up on that offer, how would they do that?
So if you want to find out more, it's just authoritycreator.co. But honestly, just follow me on social media, shoot me a DM. Like if you're listening to this, shoot me a DM and be like, hey, Victoria, I heard you on the podcast. That was super cool. Or I had this question. I'm a normal person. I'm in PR. I'm all about relationships. So find me on Instagram at the Victoria Kennedy or on Facebook, Victoria Kennedy. And I'm happy to answer all of your questions.
Awesome. It was very refreshing to have you. You've got a ton of energy, and I love what you're doing in your company. And you're not just a pretty face, and you're not just a fluff firm. And believe me, we have definitely talked with some of those before, but I can see that you have a lot of heart and soul behind who you are as a person and what you put into people. So I think that's, really, really great. And I'm excited to see, where you're headed, what you're going to do.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Winter. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great day.